Hello and welcome back to the ministry, picking up with part 2 of the female prodigal. The female prodigal is one that is going to feel inadequate. She's not going to feel adequate to be walking in the type of relationship that the Lord is trying to send her into. First thing that the Lord's going to do when you walk with God and begin the process is He's going to show you where you don't trust, who you don't trust, why you don't trust them. And if the female prodigal refuses to go through the process of understanding her trust issues, she's going to feel inadequate. Okay? She's not going to feel like she can maintain nor be in a relationship with a person of whatever caliber that said guy is. And the guy may not be of a high standing. It's something a little bit threatening about that particular person. That's why the Lord will put you on the potter's wheel and break you and break you and break you. And you're trying to figure out, well, why do I got to be broken so much? Because you got to make sure that when you get to His Son, the one you're ordained to be with, you will be ready for it. And even in the breaking will make you feel like, well, I got to be broken this much. Maybe I'm not adequate for this particular person. And in not feeling adequate to date them, she doesn't want to muddy the lines because she knows she will be less of herself over that, and they may not be ordained to be together, but they'll only end up being hurt with her. That may not have made sense, but I'm going to explain it. When you have a calling on your life, and this comes into the point of your calling, the reason you have an ordained spouse is because they have the ability to carry the weight of your calling. Or else you could marry whoever you wanted to marry because you didn't have a specific calling. But the reason that you're walking with God and the reason that He's called you is because you have a calling on your life in a certain area. He's equipped you and made you with a certain level of skill sets, talents, and gifts that He desires for you to walk in. And because of that, you can't just be with anybody. The fact of the matter is, and I bring back the actual person, the character in that TV show, she was very rebellious at times of her calling because she wanted to be a normal girl. How many times as a Christian have you had those moments where you just wanted to be average and regular like everybody else? It's like, I don't really want to be this. I didn't really want to be all of this. I just want to be me. Can I just be me and go live my life without everybody and anybody bothering me? I want to go in my nice little secluded place and go sit out in the woods and just be by myself and enjoy life and enjoy nature. Or if I want to go to work where I desire to work because I have a creative talent, and it's right there. The talents that you have will always pull on you. If you're a writer, you're a songwriter, you're a producer, you have the eye for production, you have the eye for food, you have the eye for this. Wherever it is that you're called to, your ordained spouse has the ability to help you execute that. And because of that, you're always going to end up looping back around. Even though you say, I want to be normal, I don't. But it's ingrained in your system, the fighter of being one of the Lord's children. So the character in that show, she would always be ingrained to be that fighter. She will always have the skill set to be able to identify a problem. When she sees something that didn't look right, she automatically was drawn to, let me go make sure that there ain't nothing going on over here, because of the fact that I can sense and discern something's up. That's what happens to a child of God when they can discern that something ain't right. When you have discernment, you can discern the spirits on people. When you have discernment, you have the understanding. And your God-ordained spouse is going to have the same. They may not walk in the same level that you do, but they are anointed enough to gain understanding and be able to cover you in what it is that you're supposed to do. And sometimes you may sit there and think, in observation, ergo, seeing them at a distance, because you're in resistance, that rhyme. You're in resistance, you may not understand, oh, this person, they might get me more than I think they get me. But you trying to avoid it. So because you're avoiding it, you're resisting what's really supposed to happen there. So, and because you're so discerning, you're so able to understand what's going on around you. Yes, you want to be normal and you fight constantly. I will tell you, I fight with the desire to want to be normal and independent and doing my own thing all the time, but I know I'm called to ordained marriage, and that's where the Lord is sending me. And I probably have felt that way because I've always been in a state where I've either had to live with somebody or be in a scenario where somebody was an authority over me, and I always felt like, I'm 35 almost. When do I actually start to feel like an adult? Why do I always have to feel like somebody is babysitting me? And somebody say, oh, you shouldn't feel that way because you're an adult. You can do whatever you... No, I can't. As a child of God, you can't do whatever you want. God will set you in situations where you'll be like, well, I wish I could. I was in a situation where I had a curfew for years. And I'm like, I should be able to be out as long as I want to. Now, granted, I had occasions where they allowed me to get extensions on the time that I was out, but I've always had strict guidelines. You got to be in the house at a specific time, or so on and so forth. And I mean, hey, I'm a female. Why am I going to want to be out at midnight for any specific reason? If I wanted to go out, sometimes I would go to business events, and the event would start at 8 o'clock and go till 10:30, and then I would have to do my transit back. Same thing with church and stuff like that. There were church services that did the same thing. So it's like, you want to have the freedom to be able to go out and explore your creativity, but sometimes in certain seasons, as a child of God, you have to go within the parameters. And the reason that I love this show is it showed the authority of having to have these, there were parental figures in her life that would not allow her to, you can't be out like this, you have to be like this, and she would rebel. Sometimes you do feel like you want to rebel. Sometimes you do feel like, I'm a Christian and I'm pretty strict about not cussing, but I have my moments. I'm a human being. I get angry. I get irritable. It happens. And I can't feel so bad because I did it. Because yes, I do repent when I do. But what I try my best to do whenever I have those moments is I sit with God and I pray and I repent and all that kind of stuff. But I can't sit up there and hold myself, oh my God, I cussed, oh my God, I'm operating in an iniquity that I can't break and all that. No, you're a human being. But in the fact of the matter is, sometimes you have that tendency that, yeah, the rebellious part of you wants to rebel and be with that person that's like, oh, they're pretty much everything that you wish you could be that you can't, but they ain't good for you anyway. They're counterfeit and they're going to lead you back into sin. So anybody that you get connected with that is operating outside of the will of the Lord, you can't be with them, because inevitably you're going to end up right back in what's the word I'm looking for? You're going to end up right back in being pulled back into the will of God, and that relationship is going to end up needing to be severed because they cannot handle the mantle upon your life. So it's going to either end up causing them to be hurt, or they're going to notice that, okay, she's not 100% going in my direction, because the Lord will reel you back in. It's like he'll pull you back. Then you have to get back into alignment, which means you will have to go back into the same cycle that you went into before, because you rebelled, and the process has to start over again. Eventually you get tired of rebelling because of the fact that you have to keep starting the same process over again. I learned very quickly not to keep doing that. I didn't understand how I was rebelling so much, but I'm like, sometimes we don't understand the little things about walking with God.